In the misty, rain-soaked town of Cedar Falls, Washington, population 7,100, Rachel Morgan was the woman the entire community looked up to. At 32, she was a beloved high school English teacher, a single mother raising her 6-year-old daughter Ava after her husband died in a logging accident 4 years earlier. Rachel stayed late to tutor struggling students, organized the annual book drive for low-income families, and baked cinnamon rolls for every neighbor's birthday. The town called her the heart of Cedar Falls. On the rainy evening of November 9, 2011, Rachel finished grading papers at school, picked up Ava from daycare, and drove home to their modest blue house on Elm Street. She texted her sister at 9:42 p.m., "Home safe. Ava's already asleep. Love you." That was the last anyone ever heard from her. At 7:30 a.m. the next morning, the daycare teacher arrived to find the front door unlocked, all the lights still on, and Rachel's car in the driveway. Ava was asleep in her bed clutching her favorite teddy bear, but Rachel was gone. Her phone, wallet, keys, and half-drunk cup of tea sat neatly on the kitchen counter. No forced entry, no signs of struggle. The only thing missing was Rachel herself. Detective Lieutenant Elias Grant, 47, a 22-year veteran known for his methodical calm, arrived within the hour. He walked through the house and felt the same instinctive dread every seasoned investigator recognizes. This wasn't a typical runaway or domestic case. She vanished without warning, and everything feels too perfect. The town mobilized immediately. Search parties in the surrounding forests, candlelight vigils, flyers on every rain-soaked lamppost. But after 9 months of exhaustive work, no body, no suspects, no solid leads. The case quietly went cold in late 2012. The chief told the team, "We've done everything possible. Time to move on." The file was boxed and shelved with the words "inactive, insufficient evidence" written in red ink. For the next 13 years, Cedar Falls tried to move forward. Ava grew up calling her aunt Mom and believing her real mother had gone to the angels. Rachel's sister, Claire, never stopped searching. She kept a binder of every tip, every psychic reading, every dead-end lead. The police department moved on. Detective Grant retired in 2020, quietly telling his successor, "Some cases just stay cold. You have to let them rest." But in the shadows, one man never forgot. The town's beloved pastor, Reverend Caleb Harrington, 54 years old, silver-haired, the man who had delivered Rachel's eulogy and baptized Ava, had been quietly watching the investigation from the beginning. He comforted the family for years. He led prayer circles. He even helped fund private investigators. No one ever suspected him. Why would they? He was the spiritual anchor of Cedar Falls. Meanwhile, advances in forensic genealogy were rewriting cold cases across the Pacific Northwest. In 2024, a new cold case task force at the Washington State Patrol decided to revisit 2011 files. Detective Grant, now 60 and working part-time as a consultant, was reluctantly brought back. "I told them this one was dead, but they wouldn't listen." The task force uploaded Rachel's DNA profile to GEDmatch and consumer genealogy databases. Within weeks, a distant cousin match surfaced, someone who had taken an ancestry test in 2022. The match led investigators to a shocking name, Reverend Caleb Harrington's late mother. Further testing confirmed it. Mitochondrial DNA on a single strand of hair found on Rachel's bedroom rug, overlooked in 2011, belonged to Harrington's bloodline. Detective Grant stared at the report for a full minute before speaking. "We almost walked away from this. We almost let him win." The team quietly obtained a warrant for Harrington's old parsonage. In the basement, behind a false wall he had built during a flood repair in 2013, they found what no one expected: Rachel's remains, carefully wrapped and buried beneath the concrete floor. Beside the body was a sealed envelope containing handwritten confession dated November 10, 2011.
The letter was addressed to "Whoever finds this." In it, Harrington admitted everything. He had been secretly involved with Rachel for nearly 2 years. When she discovered he was embezzling church funds to support a hidden gambling addiction and a second family in Seattle, and threatened to expose both the affair and the theft, he went to her house that night, strangled her in a moment of panic, and hid the body in his basement while the entire town searched for her. For 13 years, he preached forgiveness from the pulpit while living with the woman he murdered buried beneath his feet. The most devastating detail, Ava had attended his youth group every week for years. He had hugged her at every Christmas service and told her God has a plan for your mom. Detective Grant, who had almost closed the case in 2012, personally arrested Harrington at the church during Sunday service. The congregation watched in stunned silence as their pastor was led away in handcuffs. The 2025 trial became national news. Ava, now 20, took the stand and looked the man who had comforted her for 13 years directly in the eyes. "You buried my mother under your house while you told me God had a plan." Harrington broke down for the first time, sobbing that he had lost control that night. He was convicted on all counts and sentenced to life without parole. The parsonage was demolished and the land turned into a memorial garden for missing persons. This was the case detectives almost walked away from. A missing teacher, no body, no leads, a town ready to forget. But 13 years later, because one task force refused to accept cold as final, they found Rachel Morgan buried beneath the floor of the man everyone trusted most. The discovery changed everything. It proved that the most dangerous monsters can wear collars and preach from pulpits. It proved that time does not erase truth, it only waits for the right eyes to see it. Ava Morgan now runs the Rachel Morgan Foundation, helping families of long-term missing persons. Detective Grant, who almost closed the file in 2012, says the case taught him the most important lesson of his career. Never walk away from a case that feels wrong. The truth doesn't have an expiration date. Cedar Falls is no longer the same town, but because investigators refused to let this case die, Rachel finally came home, 13 years after the world stopped looking. Some cases go cold. This one was brought back to life, and the discovery they made years later changed everything.